Building muscle at 40, what nobody tells you. You know what shocked me after analyzing over 50 studies on muscle building after 40? The advice you're getting is designed for 25-year-olds. I spent weeks diving into the research, and here's what I discovered. Your body isn't broken, it's different. And different requires a completely different approach. Most men over 40 are training harder, eating more protein, and getting weaker every year. Why? Because nobody's telling you the truth about what actually changes in your muscle cells after 40. The elite 5% who stay jacked, they know 3 biological shifts that the other 95% are completely ignoring. Number 1, muscle protein synthesis drops 30% after 40. Volume alone won't fix this. We've all felt it. The frustration of grinding through endless sets, thinking that sheer volume is the golden ticket to staying muscular. I discovered in my research that this mindset is one of the biggest traps men walk into after 40. What surprised me is that no matter how many reps you crank out, your body just doesn't respond the same way it did in your 20s. The Journal of Physiology confirms it. Muscle protein synthesis, the process that actually builds new muscle, drops about 30% after 40. That's not a small dip. That's a fundamental shift in how our muscles grow. Here's the thing. Doing more sets without intensity isn't going to fix it. You might feel exhausted, sweat dripping, but your muscles aren't truly stimulated to grow. They're just fatigued. I like to compare it like this. Imagine a 25-year-old and a 45-year-old both hitting 5 sets of bench press. Same weight, same reps, same effort. The 25-year-old's muscles respond aggressively, growth pathways lighting up. The 45-year-old, the pathways are muted and gains are limited, even if effort feels identical. That's the invisible challenge most men never account for. The solution isn't working harder, it's working smarter. Progressive overload executed with precision becomes your ally. That means gradually increasing intensity, but not just for ego's sake. It's about hitting the fibers in a way that your body can actually register for growth. Pair that with strategic nutrition. Enough protein to trigger MPS, spaced throughout the day, with micronutrients that support recovery. I've analyzed countless routines, and what stands out is that men who thrive after 40 aren't piling on sets. They're choosing movements and loads that matter, focusing on maximal tension, perfect form, and recovery. Here's a subtle but powerful insight. If you're doing volume only, you might be spinning your wheels while burning yourself out. Fatigue rises, motivation drops, and the risk of injury climbs. Think of your training like a finely tuned engine. The right fuel and controlled revs outperform raw horsepower every time. Even if you hit your sets perfectly, there's another invisible factor that can completely nullify your gains. That's what we're uncovering next, something almost nobody talks about, yet it's quietly sabotaging the men who think they're doing enough. Number 2. Your anabolic window shrinks to 2 hours. Meal timing becomes critical. Many men make the simple mistake of eating protein whenever it's convenient, assuming timing doesn't matter. I discovered that this casual approach is a silent killer of gains after 40. Research from the Sports Medicine Journal shows that the anabolic window, the period when your muscles are most receptive to protein, shrinks to roughly 2 hours after training. That's a sharp contrast to your 20s, when your body could handle a more relaxed timing and still build effectively. The right approach is about precision. Protein-rich meals immediately after your workout aren't optional, they're essential. Aim for roughly 0.4 to 0.5 grams per kilogram of body weight. That's enough to trigger muscle protein synthesis in this narrowed window. What I've found works best is combining fast-digesting protein like whey or lean meat with a moderate carb source. The carbs create a small insulin spike, helping shuttle amino acids into your muscles and maximize growth. Think of it as fueling a high-performance engine. Timing and quality matter more than sheer quantity. Here's the subtle point most men miss. Even if you nail protein timing perfectly, you can still lose fast-twitch type 2 muscle fibers faster than expected if you neglect one crucial type of movement. These fibers are what give your physique density, explosive strength, and that athletic edge that separates the 5% from the rest. Ignoring them means your efforts at the kitchen and the gym could partially cancel each other out. Number 3, type 2 muscle fibers decline twice as fast without explosive movements. Many men fall into the trap of relying solely on slow, steady lifting, thinking that controlled reps are enough to stay strong. I discovered in reviewing training patterns that this approach quietly accelerates the decline of type 2 muscle fibers. These fast-twitch fibers aren't just about raw power. They're what give your physique density, shape, and that subtle, commanding athletic presence. Research from Muscle and Nerve shows that without high-intensity explosive work, These fibers diminish at nearly twice the rate of other fibers after 40. The solution isn't endless sprinting or Olympic-level lifts. It's strategic bursts. Short, controlled, explosive movements like sprints, jump squats, or kettlebell swings once or twice a week are enough to preserve type 2 fibers. My analysis shows that even a single session per week, when executed with intent and proper form, maintains strength, power, and that hard, full-bodied look that most men lose without realizing it. Think of two men, one sticking to slow, steady lifts only, and one adding just a few explosive sets. The difference isn't just in performance, it's in appearance. The man including bursts shows denser shoulders, thicker arms, a more alive core, and an energy in movement that signals athletic vitality. The other, gradually softer, less reactive, and slower to recover from even routine activity. Here's the tension you need to hold on to. Preserving these fibers isn't enough. There's a silent enemy most men overlook after 40, and it's not just about fiber loss. It's about how your body recovers between sessions. Overlooking this factor can quietly undermine all the effort you put into training. Number 4, recovery capacity drops 40%. Frequency beats intensity for growth after 40. We've all been tempted to push harder, thinking that training every day with maximum effort guarantees muscle growth. I discovered that this mindset backfires more often than not. Research from the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research shows that recovery capacity drops roughly 40% after 40. That means muscles, joints, and the nervous system need more time to rebuild. High-intensity sessions without adequate recovery don't produce gains. They produce fatigue, plateaus, and sometimes injury. The smarter approach is to focus on frequency over sheer intensity. Instead of hammering yourself 6 days a week at max effort, prioritize 3 well-structured full-body sessions with controlled load and thoughtful progression. My analysis shows that these manageable sessions stimulate growth consistently while keeping your system primed for recovery. Think of it as planting seeds. Repeated, well-timed watering produces a thriving garden. Oversaturating the soil just drowns the plants. Here's a clear illustration. One man does 6 days of maximal lifts, pushing to failure every session. He's exhausted, joints ache, and gains stall. Another follows 3 carefully timed full-body sessions with load management and recovery strategies. His strength climbs, core firmness improves, and muscle density actually increases. The difference isn't flashy. It's sustainable, intelligent growth that respects how our bodies change over time. Even with perfect recovery planning, there's another invisible challenge: testosterone decline. It quietly changes how your body handles rest days, impacting energy, and when in protein synthesis, and even the rate of muscle preservation. That's the next critical factor we'll unpack, because understanding it could make the difference between slow decline and maintaining peak performance well past 40. Number 5, testosterone decline makes rest days more important, not less important. A common mistake is skipping rest days, thinking that intensity alone drives growth. I've noticed too many men push 6 or 7 days a week, convinced more effort equals more results. What surprised me in the research is how counterproductive this can be after 40. Endocrine reviews shows that testosterone naturally declines with age, and this isn't just about libido. It directly affects protein synthesis, recovery, and your risk of injury. Less testosterone means slower muscle repair, longer soreness, and greater chance of overtraining. The smarter approach is scheduling rest with intention. Sleep becomes non-negotiable, and active recovery like walking, mobility drills, or light cycling keeps blood flowing without taxing fatigued muscles. My analysis shows that strategic rest isn't taking a day off from progress, it's actually amplifying it. Here's a mini illustration. One man trains 6 days straight at high intensity. He's drained, joints ache, and gains plateau. Another trains 4 days with smart rest and active recovery built in. The total effort is similar, but the muscles respond, soreness subsides faster, and strength and density improve more rapidly. The body doesn't just need work, it needs repair windows aligned with hormonal realities. Even with perfect rest, there's one last factor most men overlook that ultimately controls whether muscles grow or just fatigue. It's subtle, invisible, and critical for maintaining strength and an athletic physique past 40. Number 6, satellite cell activation requires mechanical tension plus metabolic stress. Pick one and fail. A common trap is focusing exclusively on either heavy lifting or high-rep metabolic work. I discovered that this one-sided approach is why so many men plateau despite consistent effort. The science is clear. Satellite cells, the little engines responsible for creating new muscle fibers, need 2 triggers to fully activate: mechanical tension, and metabolic stress. Miss one, and your muscle building potential is compromised. The smarter approach is to combine both, either in the same session or alternating throughout the week. Strength sets in the 6 to 8 rep range provide the mechanical tension necessary to physically stress the fibers. Hypertrophy and metabolic sets around 12 to 15 reps flood the muscles with lactic acid and fatigue, signaling the satellite cells to grow and repair. My analysis shows that this dual strategy maximizes recruitment, ensuring every fiber gets the signal to adapt and thicken. Think of it like a two-step ignition. Heavy squats prime your fibers, high-rep lunges burn the energy. Both steps are essential. Skip one and growth is incomplete, subtle, and easily masked by fatigue or volume alone. Men who understand this combination consistently see denser legs, fuller arms, and a core that holds shape even under stress. Following all these rules already sets you ahead of the majority of men and training past 40, but the final insight, the bonus point, might completely change how you approach training from this point forward. It's subtle, rarely discussed, and profoundly impacts long-term muscle quality and athletic resilience. Bonus point: men building muscle after 40 train less frequently but with higher intent. For those who've stuck this far, here's a bonus insight reserved for our real community. The biggest mistake most men make is equating more volume with better results. I've analyzed countless routines, and what stands out is how top-performing men train less frequently, but with absolute intent. Every rep has a purpose, every set counts, and every movement is executed with focus. That level of precision maximizes growth while minimizing wasted energy and unnecessary fatigue. Think of it this way: 3 focused, intentional sessions in a week produce far greater results than 6 distracted sessions. Same overall time commitment, yet one approach builds strength, density, and athletic presence, while the other leaves you exhausted, plateaued, and frustrated. It's not about how much you move, it's about how effectively you move. The takeaway is simple but powerful. Smarter, intentional training beats mindless volume every single time. Each session should feel deliberate, controlled, and aligned with your long-term goals, not just a box to check. Even with higher intent, safety remains the non-negotiable factor for continued progress. Pain is not progress. Always listen to your body, use support for balance when needed, and consult a doctor or physical therapist before adopting high-intent sessions, especially if past injuries or joint sensitivities exist. Remember at the start, I told you only 5% of men over 40 maintain a truly muscular athletic physique. Now you know why. It's not just effort, it's strategy, timing, and intention. Muscle protein synthesis slows down, your anabolic window tightens, type 2 fibers fade without explosive work, recovery capacity drops, testosterone changes the rules, and satellite cells demand both tension and metabolic stress. Each of these challenges is invisible to most men, but understanding them puts you in a completely different league. Here's the quick recap. First, volume alone won't cut it. You need quality, progressive overload, and smart nutrition. Second, protein timing matters more than ever. Hit that post-workout window. Third, don't ignore explosive movements. Type 2 fibers are your edge. Fourth, recovery matters more than intensity. Train smart, not hard. Fifth, schedule rest strategically to let your body and hormones respond. Sixth, balance heavy and metabolic work to fully activate growth pathways. And the bonus? High-intent training beats mindless repetition every time. You're 40, 45, 50 plus. That's not a disadvantage, it's your edge. Every thoughtful rep, every well-timed meal, every controlled recovery session compounds into strength, density, and resilience most men only dream about. Discipline at this stage is leverage. It multiplies results, keeps you independent, and preserves your athletic presence for decades. This is what we talk about on this channel: how to stay lean, strong, and commanding well past 40. If that's useful to you, subscribe. I post daily insights about fitness, strength, and performance strategies specifically for men who refuse to fade. Hit the bell so you don't miss it. The only competition? The man you were yesterday. Feel free to suggest a topic you would like to watch next in the comment section. We will notify you once it's posted.